All right, everyone get ready, because today we are going deep, deep into this really fascinating part of English. The past perfect tense.
Yeah.
You know that grammar rule that makes you feel like you're like a time traveler?
Right.
We're going to figure it all out and discover why it's so much more than just like some boring textbook rule.
Yeah, what's really cool about the past perfect, I think, is it adds these layers to the past.
Yeah.
Like it creates a flashback inside of a story.
Right.
And gives you a peek into things that happened before another event in the past.
Right.
Adds a whole new dimension to your storytelling and conversations, I think.
Yeah, it's like we're hitting rewind, right? We're not just saying I went to the store.
Yeah.
We're saying I went to the store, but they'd already closed for the night.
Right.
Suddenly there's like a backstory.
Exactly.
A reason for my empty-handed return.
Exactly. The past perfect helps us paint a richer picture of the past.
Yeah.
Revealing the sequence of events leading up to a specific moment. Like imagine you're reading a mystery novel.
Okay.
And the detective might say,
Okay.
the suspect claimed he had been at home all evening.
Yeah.
But the evidence suggested otherwise.
Ooh.
That had been instantly creates intrigue, doesn't it?
It does.
Throws the suspect's alibi into question.
Totally.
Keeps us guessing.
Yeah, it's like laying down clues in a treasure hunt.
Uh-huh.
Leading the listener or the reader to that ultimate revelation.
Right.
Now, I know you are amazing at breaking down complex things.
Whoa.
So can we dive into how this time-traveling tense actually works?
Sure.
I mean, how do we form the past perfect?
It's actually simpler than you might think.
Oh, good.
The key is combining had with the past participle of the verb.
Okay.
So you have had eaten,
Uh-huh.
had finished, had walked,
Okay.
all beautifully formed past perfect constructions.
That's straightforward enough.
Yeah.
But you know me, I always look for shortcuts.
Right.
What about those sneaky contractions?
Oh, yeah.
I bet they come in handy in everyday speech.
Absolutely. You're right. Contractions are essential for natural-sounding English.
Right.
You'll hear people say, I'd gone, or she'd seen much more frequently than the full had form.
Yeah.
Mastering these contractions is like unlocking a secret code to fluency.
Ah, so that's how we sound more like native speakers.
Exactly.
It's all about those subtle nuances.
Yeah.
Now, I know you're a master of bringing grammar to life.
Well,
So could you give us like a real-world example of the past perfect in action?
sure.
You know, something that'll really make it click for our listeners.
Okay, let's picture a scene from a movie.
Yeah.
And imagine a heartbroken character saying, I had planned to propose on that trip, but then everything fell apart.
Oh, no.
That past perfect had planned,
Yeah.
highlights a past intention,
Right.
a dream that didn't come true,
Yeah.
adds a layer of poignancy and regret to the scene, wouldn't you say?
Wow, that's a powerful example. I can practically feel the emotion behind those words.
Mhm.
It's more than just stating a fact. It's about revealing like a deeper layer of meaning.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm starting to see that the past perfect isn't just for storytelling.
Yeah.
We use it in like everyday conversations too, right?
Absolutely. Think about those times you've had to explain a situation.
Okay.
You might say, I was stressed because I had slept terribly the night before.
Yeah.
The past perfect clarifies the cause of your stress.
Exactly.
That's a clearer picture for the listener.
It's like saying, here's the missing piece of the puzzle, folks.
Exactly.
This is why I was acting so strange.
Yeah.
Now, I've heard this tense referred to as the past in the past, which sounds pretty intense.
Right.
Can you break down that concept for us?
Yeah, it's actually a pretty accurate description. When we use the past perfect, we're essentially creating a timeline within the past.
Okay.
So we establish a point in the past and then refer back to something that happened even earlier.
Okay.
So like imagine a timeline with 2 points marked.
Mm-hmm.
Point A represents a past event. And point B, further back, represents the action that took place before point A.
Okay.
The past perfect lets us jump back and forth between these points,
Right.
creating a more detailed and nuanced understanding of the sequence of events.
So it's like we're hopping into a time machine,
Exactly.
zooming back to specific points in the past
Right.
to reveal crucial information.
Mm-hmm.
This is making much more sense now.
Good.
But I have to admit, I'm a little worried about going overboard with the past perfect.
Okay.
Is it possible to overuse it?
Yeah.
I mean, could it make my writing or speaking sound awkward?
That's a great question, and you've hit on an important point.
Okay.
Sometimes the simple past tense is more than enough to convey the order of events clearly.
Okay.
If the context already makes it obvious what happened first.
Right.
There's no need to complicate things with the past perfect.
So it's all about choosing the right tool for the job.
Exactly.
Sometimes a hammer is needed,
Right.
and sometimes a simple screwdriver will do, but I have a feeling there are times when using the past perfect is absolutely essential.
You're absolutely right. There are certain scenarios where using the past perfect versus the simple past can completely change the meaning of a sentence.
Okay.
These are the subtle nuances that we'll explore further in our next segment.
This is getting interesting. I can't wait to uncover those tricky situations. But for now, we'll leave our listeners with that cliffhanger.
Okay.
Stay tuned for part 2 of our deep dive into the past perfect, where we'll delve into those situations and reveal even more secrets of this fascinating tense.
Sounds good. Welcome back to our exploration of the past perfect.
Yeah.
Before we took a little break, we were just getting into the territory where this tense really shines.
Yeah.
Those situations where choosing between the past perfect and the simple past can, drastically alter the meaning you convey.
Yes. I'm very eager to unpack those subtle differences.
Okay.
It's amazing how a seemingly small grammatical choice can have such a big impact on what we're trying to say.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's consider a couple of sentences.
Okay.
When I arrived, the train left.
Oh.
Versus when I arrived, the train had left.
Ooh, okay.
Though they seem similar, they tell two entirely different stories.
Okay, I'm all ears. What's the distinction?
So in the first sentence, when I arrived, the train left. The simple past tense implies that the train's departure coincided with your arrival.
Okay.
Maybe you watched it pull away as you stepped onto the platform.
Right.
Frustrating, but at least you know you weren't late.
Yeah, exactly. So it's simultaneous action.
Right.
I arrive, the train leaves.
Yeah.
But what about the second sentence?
When I arrived, the train had left.
Yeah.
Here, the past perfect had left tells us something completely different.
Okay.
It means the train's departure happened before your arrival.
Right.
You were too late.
Uh-oh.
And all you could do was watch the empty tracks.
Oh, man, that's a crucial difference.
Yeah.
One little had changes the whole scenario.
Right.
Turning a near miss into a missed opportunity.
Precisely, it's like the past perfect is whispering.
Okay.
This happened before that other thing you mentioned.
Right.
It adds that complexity and nuance that the simple past alone can't achieve.
It's like a secret signal revealing a hidden order of events.
Exactly.
That wouldn't be clear otherwise.
Right.
I'm really starting to get the power of the past perfect now.
Good.
But, as we've been talking, I've been thinking about how this tense must play a big role in writing, historical accounts. Or even sharing personal memories.
Yeah, you're spot on. Think about how we reconstruct the past.
Okay.
Whether it's a grand historical narrative
Right.
or a simple anecdote from our childhood.
Yeah.
The past perfect helps us establish a clear chronology,
Right.
making sure that events are understood in the right order.
So if I'm telling a story about a family trip from my childhood, I might say we were excited because we had never been to the beach before.
Right.
That had never been emphasizes that novelty and excitement of that first beach experience.
Yeah.
Sets the stage for the story, adds emotional depth.
The past perfect transports the listener back to that specific moment in your childhood,
Yeah.
allowing them to share in the wonder and excitement of that first encounter with the ocean.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
A time machine built with words.
Exactly.
And it's not just about creating vivid imagery.
Uh-huh.
It's about capturing those subtle emotions.
Yeah.
Those fleeting moments that shape who we are.
You hit the nail on the head. The past perfect allows us to delve deeper into the complexities of human experience, to explore the causes and consequences of events,
Right.
and to reveal the interconnectedness of our past, present, and future.
This is making me realize how much more there is to grammar than just memorizing rules.
Right.
It's about wielding language with precision and artistry.
Yes.
Crafting narratives that resonate with meaning and emotion. But as we're exploring these deeper levels of the past perfectly, I can't help but wonder if there are common pitfalls
Okay.
that we should watch out for. Are there mistakes that even experienced writers or speakers sometimes make with this tense?
You're right to be cautious. There are definitely some subtle traps that even seasoned language users can fall into.
Okay.
And navigating these nuances is what can really elevate your communication from good to exceptional.
Okay. Now I'm even more intrigued.
All right.
What are some of these common mistakes?
Oh.
How can we avoid them?
Yeah.
I think our listeners would really benefit from some practical advice on this.
Of course, we'll delve into those common pitfalls, and I'll share some valuable tips for mastering the past perfect in our final segment.
Yeah.
Stay tuned, because this is where we separate the grammar novices from the true language aficionados.
Ooh, I like that.
Yep.
Okay, so we are back and ready, like you said, to tackle those past perfect pitfalls.
Right.
I'm all ears for those expert tips.
Okay.
That'll help us avoid, like, grammar blunders and just use this tense like pros.
Okay, great. Let's start with one of the most common traps.
Okay.
Overusing the past perfect. When the simple past would be just fine,
Right, yeah.
remember clarity is key.
Yeah.
If the sequence of events is already clear from the context,
Right.
you don't need to add extra layers of complexity.
Right, like we talked about earlier, saying I missed my bus, so I was late for work.
Exactly.
Perfectly understandable.
Yeah.
Don't need to throw in a had miss there just to show off our grammar skills.
Right? Sometimes simplicity is more elegant and impactful.
Right.
Another pitfall is forgetting about those handy contractions I
Right.
talked about.
Yeah?
Using that full had form too often can make your speech sound a bit stiff,
Right.
especially in casual conversations.
Yeah, so instead of saying I had already eaten, it should be I'd already eaten.
Exactly. It sounds more natural
Yeah.
and flows better in everyday speech.
Yeah.
Like choosing the right outfit for the occasion.
Right.
Sometimes you need the formal suit.
Mhm.
Sometimes a comfy pair of jeans will do.
I love that analogy. It's all about fitting the language to the context. Are there any other tricks of the trade
Yep.
we should keep in mind?
One important thing to remember is that the past perfect really shines.
Okay.
When you want to emphasize a specific event that happened before the main action of your story,
Right.
it's like shining a spotlight
Okay.
on a crucial moment in the past,
Got it.
adding drama and depth to your narrative.
Like in that movie scene example.
Yeah.
Where the heartbroken character said I had planned to propose on that trip.
Right.
That had planned instantly highlights the lost dream.
Exactly.
It makes the story more poignant.
The past perfect adds layers of meaning, revealing the motivations and emotions behind the character's actions.
Yeah.
It's a powerful tool for crafting really compelling narratives.
I'm really starting to see the artistry behind this tense.
Yeah.
It's not just about getting the grammar right.
Uh-huh.
It's about using language to create a specific effect.
Right.
To like evoke emotions.
Yeah.
And to transport the listener or the reader to another time and place.
You got it. Mastering the past perfect allows you to paint a more vivid and nuanced picture with your words. It's like having a secret weapon in your communication arsenal.
This deep dive has been a real eye-opener. I feel like I've unlocked a whole new level of understanding when it comes to the past perfect.
I'm glad to hear that.
Any final words of wisdom for our listeners before we wrap up?
Yeah. I encourage everyone to just pay attention to how they use verb tenses in their own writing and speaking.
Okay.
Experiment with the past perfect.
Yeah.
See how it feels in different contexts.
Right.
Don't be afraid to make mistakes. That's how we learn and grow.
Great advice. And remember, even though grammar might not always seem like the most exciting topic,
Right.
understanding its nuances can really unlock a whole new level of expression.
Absolutely.
Just go forth and conquer the past perfect. You got this. Thanks for joining us on this fascinating journey into the world of grammar. Until next time, keep those minds sharp and those words flowing.